Hello and welcome to Backstage Buzz at the Mac, where you get the inside story on the art scene right from the people who make it all happen. I'm Diana Martinez, and I am thrilled to welcome this month's round of guests. Later on, I'll chat with two cast members from College Theater's upcoming production of A Christmas Carol, who will share what it's like being a part of this classic show. Then I'll welcome Kevin Harrison, a music faculty member at Wheaton College. Kevin is a Canadian brass superfan who will give us the scoop on the group as we approach their upcoming show to the Mac on December 1st. But first, we're going to hear from the managing director of Innovation DuPage, Travis Linderman. Travis will tell us about this new initiative to inspire innovation and support business and job creation in DuPage County. Welcome, Travis.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. So first of all, I know what Innovation DuPage is, but I think a lot of people don't know what it is. So tell us in a nutshell, for the average guy, what is it?
So Innovation DuPage is a new initiative that covers all of DuPage County, where we are encouraging the growth of entrepreneurship and the support of small business growth. What's so exciting about it is that there are up to 8 currently institutions of higher education which have joined the effort, as well as the economic development organization Choose DuPage, and we are working very closely with the national labs of Argonne and Firma Labs to help to commercialize innovations that are coming out of the national labs.
Okay, so you're trying to spur small business, large business,
Yes.
innovative business. How do you do that?
Well, we are beginning right now by building out a innovation center in downtown Glen Ellen, and the construction's underway. There's a great partnership that both the College of DuPage and the Village of Glen Ellen have joined together to build out in their civic center right on the train line. That will be opening in 2019, which will allow for entrepreneurs and business owners to meet there so that we can bring trained mentors, consultants, and other resources to help them as they build their business.
So let's say I have an idea for an invention. Would I go to you?
Yes. And you, I'm sorry.
What if I had an idea for making some kind of software? Would I go to you?
Yes. So focusing on software and technology startups is going to be a major underlying focus of Innovation DuPage. But also, if you have a hot sauce company, I'm working right now actually with a husband and wife who are making multiple board games that are already on the shops and Target stores, and they're going to be launching a new one just for the holiday season. So it can cover. Basically, we can work with you from just your idea stage off to you could be in business for multiple years and looking for a next round of mentorship, funding, how to connect to other resources or new customers.
So you help with funding. You help them to get funding.
That's correct.
Do you help them with like a business plan or
things
like that?
So we will help them focus on if they don't have a business model or business plan, we can sit down and help them work on that, as well as bring in resources like the Small Business Development Council, SBDC, or we will be working with other centers for entrepreneurship throughout the region at other colleges and just local resources to make sure that if there is an expertise that we are not bringing to them, that we connect them to the wonderful resources that are here in DuPage County.
That's awesome. So Travis, if someone has an idea and wants to connect with you, how do they do that?
So right now they can reach out to me directly, and email is probably the easiest way, just id@cod.edu, and I'll come to them. I'm happy to meet at coffee shops, go to businesses. If they have a downtown or Main Street business, I'll meet them right there if that's convenient. But I'm right now just trying to connect with as many entrepreneurs on a daily basis. I try not to even come into my office until I've met with at least one entrepreneur each morning.
That's a great goal.
It's been pretty active.
So what I love about this is artists are entrepreneurial, right? By spirit. Our artists are always creating new things, and you're as good as your last show or your last song or your last play, and it's a constant drive for new content. You have to feed the beast. So someone like a Lin-Manuel who writes a show, a big huge hit, the first question everyone asks is, what's your next show? What are you working on next? And so to me, there is a huge synergy between artists and creativity and innovation and entrepreneurship and business, right? And when you look at a beautiful car, an artist designed that, an engineer that has an artistic side designed that car and might make the technical part of it happen, but the design of it usually comes from somebody with a creative background.
That's right. So design is a huge part of any new startup. We will be focusing on connecting the creative culture as well as the startup community. And I'm glad, if we even compare a new startup to launching a new show, it's very similar. You have an idea. You're going to be looking for funders.
Right.
You're looking for the greatest talent that you can build around you. And then you have to promote it and basically scale it, be it if it's locally or throughout the United States or internationally. It is so important to me in this position to be connecting with the theaters, the art centers, cultural centers, because people who go to the theater, people who are active culturally, they vote more, they volunteer more, they're on charitable boards, they give of their time, and that's so vital for early companies because they need those mentors. They need advice from people who know how to do this. And here throughout DuPage County, there's these wonderful downtowns everywhere where if there is an empty space, that could be a new art studio. If there are opportunities for the colleges to connect talent that know how to promote, they could be making commercials and promotional videos.
Exactly.
So there is such a synergy between these two that first of all, I'm glad that you've been so supportive of the effort.
Sure.
And now that I've been to my first MAC show, I'm even more excited because just such a wonderful opportunities here.
You know, a new thing that we're starting is something called Common Ground Conversations after certain shows.
Yes.
And it's being funded by the National Endowment for the Arts.
Wonderful.
And it sponsors thought-provoking shows. And then after the show, our hope is to invite audience to stay and talk about, how do you feel about what you saw?
Yeah.
Does it make you feel any differently? Does it make you think out any differently about certain things or certain cultures or certain ideas or certain art forms? And to try to find a way to bring people together,
Yeah.
you know, and join a conversation of finding some common ground. And I think when you get on a creative level, it tears down the walls, you know, and it helps people to get excited about new ideas. And that's what I love about what you're doing.
So I 100% agree that my wife and I came to take me to the river this last week, and she stayed an hour afterwards speaking to the 79ers who were here, learning about their culture from New Orleans, and there was a direct connection there. And she actually sent me away, said I didn't want to continue talking and learning, talking to the big chiefs that were here. And she said to me as we drove away, she said, I needed that cultural experience here in the suburbs because she's lived on 7 different continents. It's so important that as we are attracting new professionals and talented individuals that might be coming here from Chicago, Boston, New York, that want to relocate and build businesses in DuPage County, that they have that cultural connection. They need their sushi place, they need their theater, they need that culture because they've been used to it in maybe in a larger city. And having this connection, this connecting DuPage on all the different levels is so important because if I'm going to move my family here and I want to put my roots down here in DuPage County, arts is an important part of how I want to live and the quality of life as I build my business in DuPage County.
Well, I couldn't say it any better, and I could talk to you all day, but unfortunately that's all the time we have. Wow. For more information about Innovation DuPage, please visit their website at cod.edu/innovation_DuPage. Don't miss any of these great events coming soon to the MAC, including the Doo-Wop Project, a doo-wop Christmas show on December 7th. The Second City's Dysfunctional Holiday Review on December 8th. Our next National Theater Live movie, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, screening on December 12th and 16th. The family favorite and holiday classic, Von Heidecke Chicago Festival Ballets, The Nutcracker, on December 15th and 16th. For more information, be sure to visit atthemac.org. Here to tell us more about their roles in College Theater's A Christmas Carol are Ebenezer Scrooge and Bob Cratchit themselves. Welcome to the show, Nathan and Trevor.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
So Nathan, you're playing...
I'm playing Ebenezer Scrooge.
The mean guy. You're not mean.
Mean humbug. I'm not. I think I'm not. I like to think I'm a very nice person.
So you're channeling all your inner.
Yeah, my untapped anger
And your greed.
bitterness, mostly bitterness.
Awesome. And tell us about your role.
I'm playing Bob Cratchit, so I'm very timid in personality and a little scared of Scrooge, but more so just trying to help my family and get home for Christmas.
That's awesome. How are you guys enjoying the process?
It's wonderful. We have a wonderful, wonderful cast of adult actors and wonderful young actors, and we're all just coming together to tell a wonderful story.
Now, how many people are in this production?
Oh, I think we're about 40-ish.
40-ish.
Yeah,
That's a big cast.
We're a big cast.
So what I love about this version of A Christmas Carol is it's shorter.
Yes.
Right.
You know, sometimes you go see it and it's like a 2.5-hour show,
yeah.
and this is, what, an hour?
Hour about,
Little
usually
over.
just under 70 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. You know, with the bigger productions, they're wonderful. It's just sometimes with the kids in the audience, they get a little antsy and they're losing focus. But with this, we try really hard to just keep their focus and make it an enjoyable experience for the whole family.
And it's a wonderful family show.
It is. It really is.
And this show, unlike many of the other shows, is in the big space.
Yes.
Right? So you guys take over the whole Belushi
Yeah,
Performance Hall
right.
and do your thing, which I love to see you guys on that stage. When I first saw, this is a tradition, so for our audience, this is a tradition they do, the show every other year, and it's always a sellout. And it seems like the department just puts it all in for this one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us where you're at in the process.
Well, we're at the point where we're really just starting to hone into what we really want. You know, we know our blocking. We
Okay.
pretty much know our lines. It's just, what do we as the people in this world want from one another? You know, what do I want? I want to shut myself out as to where I see everyone else trying to open the door and let me in. And it's really about me figuring out, when am I shutting people out and when do I really let them open the door for me? And that's really what the story is about for me, is opening the door and really enjoying the holidays with the world, not just yourself or just your family.
And how about you?
Yeah, we're all really at the point where we just have the framework, but now we're actually getting into character, and everyone in the show wants to help Scrooge, from Cratchit to his nephew Fred to all the ghosts. They want Scrooge to be better. They want him to enjoy himself and enjoy Christmas. And we are in the process of realizing that in our acting.
So, as actors, and when you look at your material, other than just memorize, I go here, I go there, what do you do? What kind of, do you research? Do you observe? What do you do to help form your character?
I always start with research.
Okay.
I think it's very important, especially with Charles Dickens, something that's very established. I started by reading the book.
Perfect.
I read the book 2 years ago when I did the show previous, and I read it again this year just to refresh myself and really understand what he wanted the audience to understand from that. Therefore, I can deliver that in a new way, but also once again. So research is always a number one for me.
Okay, and how about you?
I have a bit of a different style. I've read the book before, so I had a bit of knowledge going into it, but I put myself into the situation as if it were real. And
Method acting.
Right. Like, how would I react to Scrooge yelling at me saying I can't go home for Christmas?
I know, right? How do you? And how do you play a part of someone who really feels like you don't deserve to go home for Christmas? I'm paying you. You have to work.
It's
It's
hard,
because
but
you've got to
that's-
believe it.
You do.
Right? You have to believe it, and you have to come from an authentic place.
Yeah.
Right?
You really do. It's really about, you know, it's this whole thing about when you play a bad guy, it's always, you have to justify the actions, and sometimes it's harder than others. With this, we really get to see Scrooge in the past. There's this whole section where we go to his past and understand why he's so mean. So it makes it so much easier to understand that he's been hurt and he's suffered, and that's why he is so defensive towards the world and towards Christmas.
You know, I work for someone, an owner, who was shocked. And he called the office and shocked, like, what do you mean we're not going to be open on Christmas Eve night? And I was like, well, you haven't been open on Christmas Eve night for 50 years.
Right.
So, newsflash, this isn't new. Yeah. But in his mind, he's like, it's a Wednesday. I'm
Right.
paying everybody.
Absolutely.
You know, come on. And I'm like, it's also a holiday. But from his perspective,
Completely different.
completely different. I'm paying everybody to be off, sitting at home,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it was, and And I guess when you look at it from his perspective, and
Of course.
he's writing the check, you sort of see his perspective. But I think it was an awareness thing that it's a holiday, you know,
Yes.
and we'll remind you for the 50th year in a row, it's a holiday, and people get one day a year off, you know, in some cases, and so I think it's hard. But how do you find that really authentic place where he feels justified, you know? Because I'm sure Scrooge didn't think he was mean.
Oh no, he didn't think he was
You
mean at
know?
all. He thought it was a very reasonable request that I'm going to pay you. You are going to be here. This
Right.
is
Yeah.
how the business world works.
Exactly.
He doesn't understand that just because Christmas means nothing to him, that it doesn't mean anything to anyone else.
Exactly. He doesn't find the joy.
Exactly.
You have to find the love
The love and the joy.
and the joy. That's right. So, tell me a little bit about your theater backgrounds. You're theater students here? We're
Yes.
theater students here. I know you graduated from here.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit more about that.
I've been doing theater since I was little. I've always just had the bug. You know, I've done it all through middle school, high school, college, and I'm just branching out, doing as much of it as I can. I
Good.
love it. I can't get enough of it.
And that's what you have to do,
Exactly.
right? You just
Keep
keep
going.
working. You just keep working.
Never stop.
That's right. And how about you?
I started theater in my last year of high school. I was in the school musical and I loved it. I got the bug from that. And then I did another musical in the Fox Valley Park District Community Theater
Oh, okay.
production. And from that, I went here for college and I just decided to audition and see what I could get. And lucky enough, I'm here.
It's a wonderful program. It truly is a wonderful program, and I think there's certain programs at College of DuPage where you see the students really bond, and I think that the theater department is one of them. And you
Absolutely.
see a real close, tight family, and you see them go through the program and move on, and it's a very strong program. So I think you're going to do great. You're in the right place. Well, gentlemen, I wish you the best of luck. Break a leg in the show. I can't wait to see it. College Theater's A Christmas Carol is running in the Belushi Performance Hall November 23rd through the 25th. It's a short run, so for tickets or more information, please visit atthemac.org or call 630-942-4000 and get your tickets now. Don't forget to come and see other great college programming coming in December. The DuPage Chorale will be performing Baroque Masterworks on December 2nd. The DuPage Community Band will be performing on December 3rd. Come see the Chamber Orchestra play on December 4th. On December 5th, the Percussion Ensemble takes the stage. Then come hear the chamber singers and concert choir sing on December 6th. For tickets or more information, visit atthemac.org. I am so pleased to welcome Kevin Harrison to the show, who will be coming back to visit us as a guest speaker for the Mac Chat before Canadian Brass on December 1st. He's a brass musician himself and knows everything there is to know about this wonderful group. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, Kevin, not only are you a brass player, you play in a symphony, you play sometimes with New Philharmonic, you just told me.
Yes, I've been subbing with New Philharmonic here and there for about 6 or 7 seasons, so it's always a pleasure to be here to perform and to work in this beautiful space.
Well, it's an honor to have you, and you have your own brass quintet.
I do. I have a group called Axiom Brass. We just started our 12th season, and we're a group dedicated to performing concerts and doing educational programming all around the world, and have been and excited to do so.
So did you start your own quintet?
I didn't actually start the group. The group started in New York in 2007, and then I joined in about a year and a half later. But since then, I've really helped to propel the group forward, and we've become the most awarded brass quintet in the United States with 10 competition prizes, as well as an educator's award. And we've just been riding through that and presenting more concerts, commissioning more pieces, and just bringing music to everyone everywhere.
That's incredible. And you were telling me earlier, you've been to China. Where else have you been?
We've been to China just this past January. We've been to Portugal, we've been to Spain, we've been to Korea, we've been to Japan, we've been to Alaska twice, and we are making our second trip to the Dominican Republic in February.
You know, the first time I saw Canadian brass, I had no idea what to expect, right? So I'm expecting kind of a stuffy, you know, sort of a little
Right.
concert of sorts, and I had no idea, but the humor and the expression and the communication and the connection with the musicians to me is what absolutely captivated me, how they're absolutely having a conversation on stage through music that is, it transcends age, it transcends gender, it transcends everything, and everybody can understand it without one word being spoken.
Right, right, absolutely. And what Canadian brass does really well is they break down that barrier between audience and musician.
They do.
A lot of times people can feel that classical music can be stuffy and that they have no connection with the musicians. And they have completely abolished that and just smashed that to bits by presenting concerts where they even go out into the audience and do surprise things. I might have ruined the surprise, but they're really wonderful about that, and they've been doing that for over 40 years. I actually discovered them when I was in middle school. I had a really good friend who was a trumpet player, and he would always bring recordings to me. And my first experience is hearing them do the tuba player Chuck Dallenbach doing Flight of the Bumblebee on tuba, and I never thought that would ever be possible on tuba, and I was just so fascinated with that sound, and I just started buying their recordings, listening to them more and more, and it really inspired me to pursue my own chamber groups, and I started a chamber group immediately in school, and I've been involved in chamber music ever since. It's been a passion of mine.
So does do you think Canadian brass influenced the way you present your shows?
In a way, yes. So brass quintet tends to have two sides, two extremes. There's the pops entertainment side of things, and then there is the purely academic and art side. What I like elements of both, and what I try to do with Axiom Brass is bring those two together, presenting new works and presenting more academic pieces, but presenting it to an audience that, in a way, to the audience that is much more entertaining, that breaks down that wall and is much more accessible. Canadian brass is really wonderful at giving a just absolutely entertaining, just fun show all the time.
So when you are going to do the Mac Chat, the pre-show, the lecture dem, the educational part, so that audiences can learn a little bit more about what they're going to see before the show, do you know what you're going to do, what you're going to talk about, or? Not
completely, but I do want to sort of go through the history of brass, because brass has been with us for generations and generations. We tend to have a negative stigma of brass quintet as being loud and blaring, but that's how they're portrayed on TV a lot of times. But brass in the orchestra tends to have the widest dynamic range. They can play some of the most quiet, gentle passages, and they can actually signal the loudest things that we have. And so it's really fascinating to bring that into a chamber setting and explore those sides. The brass can sound very much like a human voice. And it has that expressive quality, and it can also signal excitement and joy.
See, now I think of brass as adding in the excitement or the majesty, you know, to a number. But to me, I think when you have a band and it has a brass section, that's when you know it's going to be a great band and a great show, because it's going to have this energy to it. I think it adds a tremendous energy to any group that you hear. I don't know, that's my opinion. But,
and it's also a very flexible ensemble. The Canadian brass, they move around a lot. It's easy to carry the instruments. It's easy to blend and sound good in various different configurations. So it's a lot different than a classical concert in that respect, that they can move around and they give you that visual perspective as well as just sounding really wonderful.
Canadian brass sort of is the granddaddy of them all, isn't it? Of all of these groups, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, well over 40 years. Almost, they're coming up on 50 years soon. They started out doing educational programs, much like my group, as I was saying, and they really have made a name for themselves to become the most famous brass group. Even people that don't no brass quintets have heard of the
Canadian brass.
Right.
So I heard that their instruments are 24 karat gold plated. Have you heard this?
Yes, and they have very different. They've worked with very different materials through their sponsors, and yes, they do have 24 karat plated gold instruments. And Charles Dallenbach, the tuba player, actually plays with a tuba that has a carbon fiber bell, which makes it much lighter when you're moving around on stage. And carbon fiber is actually a material that sounds very, very good. So, yeah, they do. They have very fancy instruments.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
I can't imagine what it costs to insure one of those.
I wouldn't know.
I bet they buy a seat for it on the plane when they
Yeah,
travel.
I always do. So
Do
yes.
you really? You buy
I
a
do,
seat for it?
Yes.
I guess you have to, right? That is all the time we have. I want to thank you so much for coming, and we look forward to hearing your talk before Canadian Brass on December 1st.
Thank you.
There are 2 chances to see Canadian Brass on December 1st at 4 p.m. and at 8 p.m. While you're here, don't forget to come hear Kevin speak at our Mac Chat too. For tickets or more information, visit atthemac.org or call 630-942-4000. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you at the theater and next time on Backstage Buzz.